Yeah, yes. One time for your mind. Yo, it's time for us to get into this thing. Straight grind. I feel good to be here, so we gonna shine. It's the Daily Go Get Mism Show. You think it ain't when it is? You think it won't when it whiz? We are here and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking off fast lane, no coasting. And it's on, baby. We're gonna do this part two tonight. See, last night we was talking about that space between your relationships, the space between relationships. Now we talk about the space between your relationships, part two. We got some things we gotta talk about. We gotta get a little bit more focused. But yo, notice that we're gonna get this thing through. And tonight, I'm here for you, and I hope that you're here for me too. It's the Daily Go Get Mism Show, y'all. We all up in your area. Feel good on command now. Daily Go Get Mism Show, baby. So last night, we started talking about this thing. We started having this conversation, and it was going pretty well. But even though the show went over, I felt like we didn't really get a focus down. We left a lot out there, a lot more that needed to be talked about, a lot more that needed to be spoken about. So tonight, understand this. We're gonna make sure that we go and get some command to this. Emily Dunlap is in the house and bow. She about to turn it out. And Stacey Yvette White is holding it down for the D every day, yo, 24 hours. See? What's going on? Stace. And my brother Ansel Jones. My brother Ansel Jones is all up in the crib. Yo, I'm glad to see how you live. Word. And Carol Chamberlain, me favorita. What's going on, ma? It's always good to have my peoples on you. And y'all know how we do. This is the space between relationships, part two. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up today, and it's gonna be live. So tonight, primarily, we're gonna be talking about the difference between when men have to space it out and when women have to space it out. I think we need to get it down to an exact conversation. I think we need to actually, nail it down and talk about this thing because it warrants it. Now, what I don't want to do is I never want to get into a whole battle of the sexes thing. I'm not with all of that. Black men need black women and black women need black men. And the only reason we're having this conversation about the space between relationships is when the relationship and the communication and the love and the affection and the unification between the black man and the black woman starts to break down. And then you have to go ahead and find somebody else. But what we need to understand and what we need to get down is who determines how much time is needed between your last and your next. Who makes that determination? Now, sure, some people are going to say that they make their own decisions, and I don't deny that they do. I'm pretty sure that most people do make that decision. But the decision to break up with somebody is not an easy decision to make, and the decision to stay with somebody instead of breaking up because of the history that y'all have and because of how difficult it may be to find somebody new and to start all over and to learn somebody else's whole attitudes and their ways and the way that they do things and trying to decide whether you like them enough, love them enough, feeling them enough, interested in them enough to want to push the envelope with them. It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy process. So when we talk about the space between your relationships, how much space should there be? So we're going to talk about the space that men put between their relationships generally, because we're not every man. We can't speak for every man, but we're going to generalize a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit from what we know from our experiences, personal and on the sidelines. We're going to talk about how much space that a man normally takes between relationships and how much space a woman takes between relationships. Now, the reason why that's significant is because a lot of people think that they should be able to govern how long a woman should take between her last man and her next man. Nah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that, but we know that a woman can be looked at in a certain kind of way if she doesn't put a lot of space a lot of respectable space between when she broke up with her last man and when she pursues another man. And then, and we also have to deal with rumors and all kinds of shit. So we're going to get into that tonight. So that's how it's going down on the daily go get a mism show. I see T Carey right. Morning, noon, and night has come through, and I got you in my sights. And my big sis, Robin Ming, is here to do a thing. It's good to see you right here next to the king, my queen. So let's get it popping. Urban Therapy with Sun 752. With this your daily, the daily go get a missing show. We do this every single day, every day it rains, every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. We break it down, baby. Every day it rains and the DG will do the same. Every day it rains and the DG will do the same. Every day it rains and the DG will do the same. Every day it rains and the DG will do the same. I am your host, Sun 752, aka Omar with the and if you can't say Omar with the well, then you just say Omar with the R. It's the Daily Go Get a Mism show. Part 2 of the show that we did last night, the space between your relationships. Tonight, as I was talking about before, but if you were just coming in here, I want to let you know, tonight we're going to focus primarily on the difference between the space that a man puts between his relationships and the space that a woman puts between their relationships. Now, it should be a personal decision, but we know that it's not always a personal decision. As much as we like to say that we don't give a fuck or give a shit or care one way or another what society or other people think about us, it's just not true. It just doesn't hold weight. Because if we didn't care what anybody else thought about us, then we wouldn't care if anybody respected us. And you know damn well that we care that people respect us. Actually, not only do we care that people respect us, we care if people like us. We care if people respect the decisions that we make. We care about what people think. You know how I know? If you didn't care what people thought about you, then you wouldn't care about what your kids thought about you. You wouldn't care about what your parents thought about you. You wouldn't care about what your old heads thought about you. You wouldn't care about what your friends and other family members thought about you, or your grandmother. You know, anybody who's elderly, anybody that you actually wanted to make a good impression to, you would never care about making a good impression. And we do care about that. And that's a good thing to care about. It's not a good thing to be running around here talking about how you don't give a fuck and you do whatever you want to do, because you're lying. You're lying. The only reason that we know how to do anything is because we grew up having to do some things. Having to do them, not wanting to do them. We haven't made all of our own decisions when we were growing up, and we still don't do it right now. We don't. You think you make all of your own decisions, but you don't. You're influenced by the things that you grew up with, the things that pleased you, the things that you didn't like, the things that you see now, the things that you saw before, the things that you experienced, the things that caused you pain, the things that gave you pleasure, the things that scared the shit out of you. You're influenced by all of those things. It's your learning process. So, you know, as much as it sounds good to be running around the internet talking about IDGIF and you don't give a fuck and you don't care and everybody need to mind their own business, you don't even mind your own goddamn business. Ask me how I know. Because I'm one of the people who minds his business way more than other people do, but I don't always mind my business. Like, what the fuck? I'm curious as hell. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the space that a man puts between relationships. So let's get it popping. How much space do men put between relationships? A lot of people would say that men don't put any space between relationships. A lot of people think that men just go from one relationship to the next relationship without having any type of cushion, without having any type of buffer, without having any type of partition or any type of yield a yielding sign between relationships. It's not true. It takes some men a long time to get past a past relationship, because men love. They do. I've seen men try to move on, and I've seen them. I talked a little bit about it last night, but I've seen men, break up with their girl, or get divorced from their wife, and move in with another woman, or move her in if he was financially able to have his own place after a divorce or after a breakup or whatever. I've seen him do it. Move the chick right in, or move in with a chick, and he's really not done with the last relationship. So I've seen him, bring his little flat screen TV and all of his trash bags full of his clothes, sneakers, video game, whatever he brought. I've seen him transfer it over to his new joint and have to transfer it right back to his old joint. All because he tried to make that transition a little too fast. Sure, he might have been cheating with the joint. He might have been cheating with the joint before he broke up with his ex. Unfortunately, that kind of shit happens. What's going on? Sucre J3, JDX, J2. Sucre J3, JDX, J2. I said Sucre JDX, J2, J2. I said, what's going on, man? How you feeling? Good to see me, some you and my man Clint C. Brantley. My man Clint came through. He said he'd be back, and he did not disappoint me. He did not disappoint. I appreciate that. That was my biggest worry. Like, hold on. Are y'all going to be back? Okay, all right, we got a little something going on. We got a little something. Make sure that y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure that y'all share the show. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. And make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we're coming on. All right. So, yeah. So, I'm going to put it out there like that. I think that a man normally gives himself, if you put a gun to my head and I had to give an average of time that I think a man takes as far as space between relationships, I would say about 8 months. And the reason that I say 8 months is because I'm taking the average. Because some men, will fuck around, but they won't get into a relationship. And I know exactly how that be. Sometimes you really need to air out after you get out of a relationship. And I was thinking about this shit. I was like, hold on. Have I ever done that? Because I was thinking like, nah, I'm normally, there's normally, no downtime. But there is, because it depends on what you consider somebody to be a relationship with. You may be kicking it with somebody. Y'all may be doing everything that a man and a woman who are together do, but y'all may not have made that declaration. Now, some people may say, well, that doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Because, and I'll tell you why it matters. It matters because when you start counting up who was important to you, if you forget that name, guess what that means? It wasn't there. So you might count somebody, but they might not count you. You might not count you might not count somebody, but they counted you. So it's like one of those situations where you see somebody that you used to mess with after a while, and you thinking like, yeah, we used to talk, we used to date, we used to go out, we used to, she good people. I mean, whatever. That's not what they saying. They saying, oh yeah, that was my man. We were together for a year. And you're like, we didn't go together. Difference in philosophy, difference in ideology, difference in perspective. So with that being said, there have been times when I got into a relationship, or I'm sure, should I say, when I got out of a relationship, and I was like, you know what, I'm chilling for a while. I'm still going fuck. Don't get me. You know what I mean? You don't want your dick to, collect dust, because that's bad. They say, you got to use it or lose it or whatever. But thinking about it, I'm listening to everybody else say how they don't want to get their heart invested. They don't want to put themselves out there and all of that. And I'm thinking, I felt the same damn way. But I may have felt a little different. I may have felt like it's not about me getting my heart invested. I might have felt like I don't want to get somebody else's heart invested in me when I know I'm not going to be there. When I know I'm not feeling that. When I know I'm not looking for anything like that. There have been times in my life when I lied and said I had a girl when I didn't. Just to, I mean, it kind of worked out, because I'm like, so if I tell you that I got a girl and you still want to mess around with me, it kind of gives me the green light to act like a dickhead whenever I want to. I can always be like, yeah, but I gotta go home to my shorty anyway and shit. But I was really only doing it so like you don't try to get all serious with me. Now, sure, you could say, well, why didn't you just tell the truth and say that you're not looking for nothing serious? Because I've tried that. And just because you don't want to be serious with somebody else doesn't mean that they don't want to be serious with you. Women go for what they want. You know what I mean? Y'all can talk all that shit and all of that. No, I don't know about other niggas. I really don't. But I know from my experience, shit, they get their eyes on, they be like, I'm getting old. Yeah, all that. Yeah. You're not looking for. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So I would say about, and there have been times when I carried that on for years. I hadn't really thought about it, but it's true. So it is what it is. Sucre J2 says that's foul. You gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? I mean, it can sound foul, whatever. Like in love, you follow, you play by your rules. You don't play by nobody else's rules. But that's why we need to talk about the space between relationships placed on men versus placed on women. See, because just like I was saying, a man or society may feel like a man can just go ahead and leave one relationship, jump right into another relationship and feel no accountability. Like that's just what men do. Is that fair? I don't think it's fair. It's a personal choice, but I don't think it's fair. The same way is if a woman gets out of a relationship and some women, I mean, actually physically and emotionally avoid a relationship after they have gotten their heart broken, or after they leave a relationship, whether they consider their heart just to be broken or not, for years. I mean, years. Like, there's one thing. It's one thing to be single, and there's another thing to be single as fuck. And I have seen women be single as fuck for years. 1, 2, 3. I have met women as a full-grown adult in my 40s. I've met women who said that they have not had sex in double-digit years. And I'm like, you what? What? When I worked around 2013, when I worked at this job, I knew this girl. Well, I met this girl who worked at the job. And she was digging me. She was, she was playing cautious, but she was feeling the kid. And we got to talking, whatever. She was real nice. I wasn't really trying to do nothing. But she shared some things with me. And she said she hadn't had sex in 13 years. Yeah. She said 13. I said, what? She knew she had kids. I said 13 years. I said, why? And she said, because, after my last, I think after she got finished dealing with her kid's father or something like that, she was just kind of, I'm good. And I was like, 13 years though? 13 years? I was like, wow. And she was about maybe 10 years older than me. Yeah. She was about 10 years older than me. I'm thinking like, damn. So if I was 43 at the time, that made her 53 at the time. So I'm like, you haven't had sex since you was 40? You enter your whole 50s. Nookie-less. And you don't feel no kind of way about it? I was like, you don't get no urges or whatever. She said, yeah, I get them all the time. But you know how I go. Oh, I do what I gotta do, but I was like, well, are you scared? Are you scared to get into a relationship? Are you like what's at 43? I wasn't really understanding this. But at 43, I knew somebody else who was about 2 or 3 years younger than me. And she said she hadn't had sex. This was now mind you, this is in 2013. She said she hadn't had sex since the 90s. It was like, yeah, it was the 90s. Like, when I did the math, it was like 1997, 1998. And I was like, what we doing? What we doing? I was like, this must be the year of the celibacy. But the old head wasn't celibate. She, I guess she popped herself off or whatever. But the other one, the younger one, she was straight celibate. She was like, nope, I don't do nothing. I consider both of them to probably have been, probably victims of abuse or whatever. There was something deeply emotional going on. All right, I see we have a call on the line. We're going to get with that. We're going to do that. Hold on. Carol Chamberlain says, when a woman gets into a new relationship, it's questioning about how long it took. Not so much for men, and I said most men. Yeah, I understand. I totally understand. I told Cherry, Cinderella, Dana is all up in the house, and Aqua activated. All right, we're gonna get to the caller with the last numbers 3945. Let me cue you in. Welcome to the Daily Go Get a Business Show. Thank you for holding. What's on your mind this evening? What's good?
Hey, Clint, how you doing?
Hey, my brother. I mean, it feels good and very familiar to hear you on the radio because that's where I discovered you. What's good, my man?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you my story. I'm gonna give you my timeline. I'm gonna show you how a lot of things that we don't love hard. We do love hard. When a man falls in love with a woman, and I'm a little bit older than you guys. I'm 62. When a man falls in love with a woman, he falls. Okay, my divorce happened in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved with a woman after that for 5 years. Okay, I was more married to the second woman than I was to my first wife. Okay, my only wife actually. So the deal is that when she broke up with me, it devastated me. So I cautiously waited 2 years before I got into another relationship. That relationship, my brother, lasted for 6 years, and it was a constant up and down thing. Now, on November 30th, 2018, my younger brother had a party. This woman shows up to my brother's party with another man on her arm. Okay. Now, I gave myself some time. I kind of figured, you know what? These are seasons that I'm going through with these women. But this last relationship really did something to me. Now, when you talk about how much, time we need, right? I made a conscious decision on November 30th, 2018, to end all relationships and just give the love to myself that I've been giving away. For some men, we don't talk about it, but when we get hurt, it goes deep. Because men, I can't speak for all men, I'm speaking for myself. Right? When we fall in love, we fall in love. And we do everything that a woman wants us to do. They may not be on the same level that we are. They may be like, I like you, I'm in love with you, but I don't want to marry you. I don't want to do this or that. Men love hard too. Okay, and sometimes it takes us long. Like you said yesterday, you said it. Sometimes we get crazy where we start stalking, we start following them, we start threatening family members, or don't let them get involved with another relationship because then we go absolutely nuts. So just so you know, when it comes to some men, and I'm not speaking for all, I'm speaking for myself at this moment. We love hard, and we look for that wife. We look for that that companion. Some people say you shouldn't look. You shouldn't let it fall in your lap, right? I don't. All that's out the window for me now. So that's the deal, bro. That's seriously the deal.
That's true.
We do love hard.
That's true. Yeah, and when you witness it, it's amazing how so many people bear witness to how hard it is for a man to get past the relationship that he has been in, and how hard it can be for him to move on. Why do you think, if you had to make an assessment or a guess about why people seem to think men just take it on the chin or just move on like it's no big deal? Why do you think that seems to be the general feeling about how men deal with current relationships, past relationships, and moving on? Why do people think that?
They think that because what some of us do, we subscribe to that philosophy. In order to get over someone else, you need to get on top of somebody, and for women, you need to get under somebody. But the truth is that half of us would do that knowing that we're still hurting. Half of us would just, try to play that macho man bull crap. I don't know if I can curse or not.
Yes, you can.
However, you can't. You gotta be real with yourself. If you're hurting, take that time and hurt, because it's been almost close to 2 years for me, and I'm like, you know what? Like I said to Emily yesterday, I'm done with relationships because it's time for me to love myself. And what we don't do, we don't take time out to get back into ourselves, love ourselves, so we can be able to love others and things. But we play that role. We'll be like, yo, man, screw that. I'm gonna get this. Like you said earlier, there was the woman who hadn't had sex for 13 years, but she was giving you rhythm. She was playing, playing the game. She wanted, open up. Maybe she wanted you to be that new guy, But for us, a lot of us guys, we play that shit. We play that shit up like, oh my God, man, I gotta get me another bitch, or I gotta do this or that. In the meantime, when they are alone, we're in our rooms, we're crying.
Yo, man. Yo.
We pick up the.
Go ahead, man. Spit that crack.
The call them, the minute the ringing stop and you hear them pick up the phone, we hang up the phone.
Okay.
That's the deal, bro.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. Shit.
That's the simple best. That's not for all of us, but
Listen, man, I'm glad you speaking that truth, and you're not the only one. Sure, there are people who have different timelines for when they're able to move on or when they're able to deal with something new or when they're able to fully invest themselves in another relationship. But the scars that you get from a past relationship will make any person want to avoid being hurt again. The thing is that fear of being hurt it can make you a bitter person. It can make you a hesitant person, and what I hate about it more than anything else is that it makes me feel like you're giving control to somebody who's not around anymore, who really shouldn't have any say so about the way that you conduct yourself in the future. But here they are in the past controlling how you will move in the future with somebody that could possibly give you something better than what you left behind. And I don't think that that's fair. It's not fair to the other person that's waiting on you, and it's not fair to yourself, because you are. It's like you're blaming a person who never laid a hand on you, as if they shot you before. And it's just and you know, it's unhealthy for yourself, because it's really a psychological issue. You know what I mean? Here we are avoiding opportunity to be pleased because we've been hurt. You know what I'm saying? If we were listening to somebody else say it without us experiencing it, it would sound ridiculous. Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? It would be like somebody telling you that they're scared to drive, and you like, listen, how can you be afraid to drive, but you're not afraid to ride with a crazy driver? You understand what I mean? But
yeah,
here we are. Hold on a second. Hold on. We have another call on the line. You know how we do it. You remember the old Blog Talk days. So just stand by. We're gonna bring the other caller on the line. Caller with the last number 7019. Welcome to the Daily Go Get It Show. Thank you for holding. What's on your mind this evening? Caller, last number 7019.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, can you? Okay, I had a question for the other caller.
Okay.
And my question was, because he mentioned that the female that he got with after his marriage broke up, that she kind of did him dirty. But I wanted to know, did he see any signs of that early in the relationship?
There was no signs, because it seemed that we were getting along very well. There were some issues that we had, but we worked them out. What had happened was that I think she got tired of waiting for my divorce to be final, because my ex-wife kept, bringing me back into divorce court. And I guess she got to a point where she felt that, you know what, it's been 5 years. In the last 3 years, he'd been back and forth with this court case. So I think she got to a point where she felt that it was time for her to go. And you know what? I learned that when you love someone, you don't hold them. You let them go. And I kind of figured, you know what? I'm going to let you go. Like I said, I hope you find what you're looking for and things. And I patiently waited for 2 years, waiting, hoping that, she would realize, because right after we broke up on December 10th, 2010, my divorce was finalized in April of 2011. So if she would have waited, we would have, I honestly think that we would have made it, because there was a love there that I've never experienced in all my life. This is the first time in my life I understood what it means to be equally yoked with someone. So I honestly think that when she left, she needed to go. And I wasn't gonna well, baby, I ain't letting you go. I don't go through all that. I'm old enough to understand that if you feel that this is not where you belong, then I'm gonna love you enough to say, baby, I love you. I'm gonna step out. You do what you gotta do and things. And so I haven't spoken to her since January 2011. And I see her on Facebook. We're in some groups together and things like that. She makes comments. I make comments. However, I just kind of figured, if you needed this, if you needed to leave, I had to let you go. I'm not that guy. You're not going to be watching me on news. He killed this girl or he stalked this girl. No, I'm not going to be on Snap. None of that. I love you enough to say, baby, I love you. I gotta, they say if you love something, set it free. It comes back and it's meant to be. Well, I guess these relationships were not meant to be.
Mm.
So when you say the devastation, So when you say that relationship devastated you, you're simply just speaking on the fact that she left after some time, not really that she did anything to you, but just that she left.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was no cheating. There was no other people involved. What it was that I think got tired of waiting for my divorce to be final. Because when we moved in together, I was in the second step of the divorce. The divorce was supposed to be final that year. But what happened was when my ex-wife discovered I was moving in with this woman, all of a sudden she wanted full custody of our youngest daughter. I'm not going to divorce my kids because I'm divorcing you. I love my daughter. I always wanted to be a dad. I think fatherhood is the greatest joy I've ever been on. But what happened with me and this woman was, I think she got to a point where, you know what, this woman ain't ever going to sign these papers. She's never going to let this man go. And I heard this from an older woman. My ex-wife was controlling my current relationship through the divorce case.
Heavy. Hey, let me ask y'all something. Let me ask you something, Clint, because you said something that really caught my attention. You said that in your relationship there wasn't any cheating, and a lot of people can't even fathom breaking up with somebody when there is no infidelity. Because when there is no infidelity, it's almost like, to people who have been through situations where there was infidelity, it almost seems like there's no reason to break up. Like there's nothing that you have to recover from when there is no infidelity. And it seems like, well, if it's not a situation where somebody else is pursuing another relationship, then there shouldn't be any reason about why the two of you can't get back together. And that's not true. So, but I'm thinking that will probably make it harder to move forward, and that will probably put even greater space between you and somebody else. Because it's one thing, I'm thinking that it's one thing to feel like you lost out on a relationship because you either cheated, because you were greedy, or because somebody cheated on you, and they may have made you feel like you weren't good enough to be exclusive with them. But when there's no cheating, then it's like, well, damn, I can't even get it popping with somebody who ain't even cheating on me. Like, I'm saying all of this, and I'm actually kind of asking you, does that make it harder to move on when there isn't any infidelity versus when there is infidelity, and at least you have a devil, at least you have somebody to blame for what happened?
What it does, Omar, is it gives you have more questions than answers. Okay? That's what it does. It makes it so hard for you to let it go because you have more questions than answers and things. And for me, like, I kind of figured, this is what she needed. I wasn't going to hold her back, And when I got into that relationship after her, like, I kind of figured, she moved on with her life, I got to move on with mine. But I knew in my heart that I still love this woman. To this day, I still love this woman. To this day, she is everything to me. However, moving on is something you got to do. Because as I tell my daughters, like when they have to deal with things, sure is the sun sets in the west, it's going to rise the next day. What are you going to do when the sun comes up? You can't living. You can't stop living because something ended. I had a friend who committed suicide when his wife left him for another dude. But you can't stop living because it didn't work. Now I'm really getting into me. Now I'm rebounding. From these hurts. These last three relationships were very significant for me. I was looking for a life companion. I was ready to settle in I thought my wife and I were going to be together forever. But when she got to a point that I wasn't allowing her to keep spending money the way she wanted, because, as you know, I used to be in the music industry. I used to be a backup keyboard player for different artists. There was a lot of money. She went through half the money, then the divorce got the other half. So I'm literally starting from scratch again, and I'm learning how to love myself more than I've ever done before in my lifetime. You know, yeah, my youngest daughter's in college now. She's doing well, but it's time for Clint to love Clint. You know, and let me tell you, my inbox is going crazy on Facebook. My inbox is going crazy on Instagram. Women are like throwing themselves at me, and I'm like, okay, this is Satan testing me. This is me being in the wilderness with Jesus, you know, being tempted. Satan is showing me every empire that I could possibly have. But for me right now, like, it's about loving me. It's about taking care of myself. Where if I'm not gonna ever say never, never, but if I fall in love again, I want to make sure that I'm loving myself to the point where I can love this person and not have anything holding me back. You know, but there's more questions for me. There's more questions than answers when it ended.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this: because you speak a lot about learning to love yourself and really getting into yourself. So, for the people out here who are struggling to do that, what are some of your techniques? Like, what does loving yourself mean to you? What have you done to make yourself feel good about yourself? In the wake of trying to repair the damage that has been inflicted on you from these past relationships, or from your marriage. What does loving yourself mean?
I am finally surrendering myself to God. I'm finally saying, all right, Father, take over. I'm finally saying, I can't do this on my own anymore. I'm finally like reading more scriptures. I'm actually going out like when I can to do things that I always wanted to do. Like, being that we're in the pandemic right now, like, I ride my board, not now, I've been riding my bike a lot. I've been like doing these little mini road trips on my bike throughout New York City. When I'm alone in my room and those lonely moments hit me, I will put on some music that will help me get through it. I'm reading more now. I'm reading books that I should have read in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished reading Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. I did the Cliff Notes. Now I'm aging myself. I did the Cliff Notes, but I never read the book. So I just started reading that book yesterday. So I'm indulging myself into myself. You know, it's not easy. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's the easiest thing in the world. It's not. There are those moments when I'm laying in the bed and I'm holding a pillow instead of a woman that I would love to be in love with. Right? Those moments get me. Okay. However, I've learned to just say, you know what, Father, if this is your will, I'm riding with it. You know, I'm learning how to just be more into me. I'm learning how to laugh at myself. I found myself listening to Richard Pryor at work last night, because you know I work overnight at Manhattan College.
Okay.
I found myself laughing at myself last night because some of the things he was talking about in Live on Sunset, I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when he's talking about when you get your heart broke, that is your diploma. You know, when he says that in that act, right? I was like, damn, I got my degree. Because my wife was my diploma. My ex after my wife was my degree, and my master's degree is the last woman I was with, you know. And it was like, I had to laugh at myself. I said, dude, you got a PhD in love, bro. You know?
Yeah.
So I just indulge myself in things that I always wanted to do. If I had right now I'm on a little bit of hard time. I'm living in a room for rent, which is really nice. It's a dormitory room. And if I had a kitchen, oh my God, I would be cooking up a storm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know? And I'm thinking about picking up another instrument. I haven't played the keyboard since '95. But I'm thinking about learning the bass. You know, and I'm thinking about, picking up another instrument or learning another language. You know, so I'm just indulging myself in me now. And so what gets me through is I listen to you from time to time, the other people that I listen to, it helps me to hear the subjects come back at me so I can self-analyze. And let me explain this. I am in therapy because now I'm learning to peel back the layers and deal with me. I don't blame nobody else for what I'm going through.
Okay.
You know? And maybe I'm paying for all the times that I broke in girls' heart, like in college. But, you know, in college, I wasn't there to get a missus. I was there to get a degree.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
Okay. Okay. So if I understand you correctly, you're saying that one of the self-help and self-love techniques that you've been some of the help and self-love techniques that you've been employing is finding things that you enjoy that you may have forgotten that you enjoy after a while, and getting back into them, like keeping yourself busy by hobbies and activities and other things. Finding other things that you enjoy that will help you to occupy your time and your energy, besides just concentrating on what happened to you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Because just before the pandemic, if you remember, I was going to come to Philadelphia. Remember I said I was going to come to Philadelphia?
Yeah.
And I wanted to meet up with you. And I have family in Philly, but I wanted to come meet up with you, you know, and hang with you for like maybe like a half a day or something like that.
Right.
That was one of the first steps of me, you know, let me get back out here. Let me travel. I love to drive. I love to get on the road and drive. Not have a vehicle, but there's nothing wrong with the train or the bus or the plane, you know. But now with the pandemic, I stay put. I only go out of my room when I have to.
I understand that.
You know, it's budging myself. You know,
yeah.
It's like if I could right now, if there was no pandemic right now, right, I would probably take a job in a different city, and just to be there, like, you know, for a couple of months to maybe a year, and then move on to something different. So it's like just doing things to keep myself busy. But there are moments, I'm not gonna lie, Omar, there are moments where it hits me hard. You know, I'm like, yo, you know what? This is how it is. This is your life right now. You know, I learned to get through it. You know, my strategy became just get through the day without killing somebody. Get through the day without crying. Get through the day and appreciate the fact that you actually have a day, because so many people are dying around me. God is keeping me here for a reason.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful. I'm grateful. You know, I'm still here. You know, just this morning, a friend of mine from the 5 Steps passed away, and I was like, oh my God, you know, and me and him used to hang tough.
Yeah.
We used to hang tough. So I'm looking at the fact that I'm still here. I'm looking at the fact that me and you can have conversations, or I could post things on your page on Facebook and watch people's reactions. I see some of the things that people post on the page, and I love it because some of the things make me laugh. You know, it takes me out of whatever zone that Satan will try to put me in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to like stop his crap.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
I want to stay positive.
I totally understand that. I mean, I'm glad that you found other avenues, other ways to be able to get yourself out of the doldrums, because it's not easy for a lot of people. And that's why we were talking about the space between relationships. That space should be used as a constructive measure to be able to transition and prepare yourself for the next phase of life, whether that phase of life is a new relationship or a new endeavor, a new job, a new adventure, a new place to live, a new experience, or whatever. You know, I mean, because more than likely, wherever you came from before, you probably, if you were invested in that relationship, your idea of the future and your vision of the future included that person. So when that breaks down, it can be tough, because now you have to sort of look at the world like, well, now my immediate future is just me. You know what I mean? And in order for me to get back to where I was before, wasn't the best situation, but I knew it. It was familiar. I was comfortable with it. I was comfortable with it even when it was uncomfortable. But and I knew what it I knew what it was going to do. It's like when you you know, for lack of a better example, it's like when you have roaches in the house. Like I know that they're I don't like having bugs, but I know these bugs don't bite. I know that, you know what I mean? They ain't going, you know, it's not like bed bugs where they going, you know, try to eat me at night or whatever. At least these cats are running from me, you know, they ain't on attack. So it's not a good situation, but it's a familiar situation. But since I have a man and a woman on the line, I really want to ask y'all about this double standard that men that no wait, let me back it up, that a lot of people have about the timeline between relationships that a man should take and the amount of time and space that a woman should take between relationships, because many people believe that a man is, you know, should have the green light to go from one relationship right to another relationship without ever flinching or whatever, or even just to ease his mind or his male member, you know, for the time being. But with a woman, you know, there's a whole lot of other restrictions and judgments that may be placed on her to, you know, to air out. You know, I've heard people physically say it, like, nah, let that coochie dry out for a little while before you decide to wet it again, and all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm thinking, like, what? So are we telling men that to not even allow themselves to allow the pain to kick in as if it wasn't already there? And are we telling women, no, make sure that you deal with the pain as long as possible, and then just wait for another man to come and rescue you from whatever situation that you were in before? Is that what we're saying, or do you see it another way? Do you think, you know, well, what do you think?
Well, for me as a woman, that's exactly how I see it. Basically, what you explained, because you know, society puts all types of time on women that they don't impose on men. There are all different, you know, things that they look at women to do. Even when men are young as children, you know, a boy can go out and have a girlfriend, have 3 girlfriends, and everybody's patting him on the back. But if a girl does that, you know, she's labeled, you know, all types of negative words. So, you know, those stereotypes exist. They're not going anywhere. And even men themselves place those stereotypes on women. It's not just women, but women do place those stereotypes on ourselves as well, on other women. So, I mean, there's no way around it.
Okay. Well, you say that there's no way around it. Is there no way around it? Like, what about? Okay. Let's.
When I say there's no way around it, I'm looking at it from, you know, from a female's perspective. However, if you're the type of woman who don't care about what other people think, because there's always going to be 2 sides of the coin. So if you don't care about what other people think and the stereotypes that people place on you, you're going to do what you want to do regardless. So, you know, I tend to be one of those people. It's my business, what I do. You know, I'm going to make decisions that are best for me, and I'm going to do what I want to do. However, you know, that's not going to stop people from judging on the outside. But I feel like if you don't pay my bills, if you don't, you know, provide for me, if you don't take my, you know, make choices for me that are either good or bad, then you don't have the right to place judgment on me. And if you do, that's your business. And as long as you don't say it to me, I can care less.
Okay. Well, let me be a little bit more specific. Because right, I think I was a little too Atlantic before. Let me get a little bit more Pacific. And by the way, I see caller with the last number 7605. I'm gonna come and grab you in just a second. Let me get more Pacific. Let's take a scenario where a man and a woman was married, and they were having, let's say that the man in a relationship was unfortunately inflicted with a terminal illness. Now, maybe their relationship, their marriage was on the rocks before he got sick, but he did get sick. You know what I'm saying? And you know the strain that an illness can put on a relationship that already was on shaky ground. You know what I'm saying? So so what if she tried to hold it down for him as much as possible or whatever, but like I said, they weren't on good terms before he got sick. So he got sick, she stuck in there, and he died. And within 90 days, 120 days, 150 days, that's 5 months, she's with another man. Would do you think that the people who may say, well, she must have already been messing around before her husband died, which is not necessarily the truth, you know what I mean? But regardless of what they say, is that do you think that's enough time? Do you think that she put enough space between that?
It's hard to.
Go ahead.
First of all, I think there probably was a conversation between that husband and wife prior to him leaving this world, right? So whatever agreement that they came to in the midst of him going through his illness, because I'm assuming based off of your example that they probably weren't sexually active leading up to his death. So the fact that she waited until he left this earth and took his final breath before she even entertained the idea of being with anyone, even if it was just for the people who were looking, even if he had established that relationship prior to him dying, she still maintained her respect by not allowing or waiting until he died before fully entertaining that other person. So I don't see a problem with it. I don't care if it was 1 month.
Okay.
I want to.
Okay.
I want to piggyback off of what she just said.
Okay.
I look at it in terms of levels of love. Okay. She may have enough love for him to respect him until his death. But when it came time for her to venture out, like you said earlier, the timeline varies for different people. And you have to, if I see a woman gets involved with the person after her husband died, and, for me, maybe I might say, well, I just can't do it right now. It might take me XYZ amount of years before I can move on to another woman. Like, it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different timeline. And so I look at it in variances of love. How much love she has for this person, how much love they have for each other, sometimes, she may wait. She may never get involved again because she loves this guy so much that she don't want to violate whatever it is that they had. Despite the fact that there may have been issues before, but I look at it as, it's a preference thing. It depends on where you are in your lifetime. Because I'm learning in my 60s now that we have to go through certain things to get to a certain level or get to a certain part in our lives where we can be comfortable with the things that we will accept or not accept. So
okay,
what she said is true. What she said is true.
Okay, all right. I agree, and all of this stuff is opinion based. It's just it's a tough situation. But I have more questions. But we're going to take the caller with the last number 7605, and then we're going to continue on from here. All right, caller with the last number 7605. Welcome to the Daily Go Getimism Show. I appreciate you holding on, and welcome. And what's on your mind this evening? What's good?
Well, thank you for having me. I've been listening, and I just wanted to expand on what you were just asking about. Because when you're talking about timelines, I know you centered it around women just now, but it seems to me that women have, there's like a short timeline that women have as far as moving into from relationship to relationship until there's a marriage involved.
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden now there's everyone is judging the man if he moves on to a new relationship immediately after a marriage or immediately after he becomes a widow. Whereas, prior to him being married, no one really cared as much as they do when it comes to women.
Okay. But let me ask you this.
I was just, because we were talking about, timelines in reference to women and the terminal illness and things like that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you'll find people caring more, if that man was married.
Right.
And that's a testimony to the fact that society, even though we pretend like men don't love as deeply, when they really do, that we do believe it. That's not true, that we really don't really think that, because once he's married and he moves on after that marriage or after his wife dies, it's like, I can't believe, he moved on so soon since, Juanita passed away.
I've heard that. I've heard that a few times, specifically about Juanita.
Juanita just break up.
Specifically about Juanita.
You know that they feel.
Wait a minute, you know Juanita? I know why. I didn't even know you knew Juanita. That's amazing. But I have a question. I have a question. Because I need to get more Pacific, because y'all still got me being Atlantic. All right, so
okay, let's right.
I need to be more Pacific. Okay, so let's take a scenario. Let's take a common scenario, something that happens actually way more often than I would like to be able to say that I know about. But let's say if a man messes up with the legal system and gets sent to jail, whether he's married or whether let's say he's unmarried, but him and his girl, they good to go, and he gets sent upstate for he's going to be gone for a minute, at least a nickel or a dime. Do they still go together?
Okay,
That depends on her.
Let me just say this, okay? Right? If I were in jail, okay, you know what? All bets are off at that point. She belongs to whomever comes in her life at that point. Unless if
I don't
she
believe
feels
that
much. No, I do, because I feel that if she loves me that much and want to wait for me, that's different.
But I'm she. So you're speaking about it as from the male point of view. As a female, if I'm riding with you before you, it really depends on what you went to jail for. What you go to jail for?
I'm robbing banks, sweetheart.
All I know is whatever he went to jail for. Wait a minute.
If I'm going to jail, I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna go to jail for something where when I come out, because I learned that after 4 years, as long as you don't open up that bag, that dye pack battery dies after 4 years. I'm just gonna say to you, babe, hold this. Don't open it for 5 years.
Okay, well then, Clint, okay. I'm riding with you then. I'm still yours for the next 4 years. I'm just saying.
You said 4 years it dies?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, if I go to jail for something stupid, I expect you to get to someone else, because that was jail. I just don't do jail. For me.
It's a valid question if you ask me. Because
it is a valid question, but it really depends on the crime.
Okay, but hold
on. Robbing things.
What I'm talking about, though, like I said, he's going to be gone for a minimum of a nickel or a dime. So regardless of whether so we're talking about felony. We're talking about a felony crime.
I understand that, but it still depends on the crime, because if he's doing a nickel or a dime for killing a man that tried to attack me and our family. Where am I going?
That's different.
But you have to remember. Hold on. Well, what I said.
Can I say something?
Hold on. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
I think it depends on the person, because first of all, if you love somebody before they went to jail, that's not going to change because they committed a crime. The reality is whatever they did, you're going to try to justify it in your mind. If you really have love for that person, and your first thought is going to be, well, I'm going to stand beside this person, while they do this time. However, as time goes on, things change. You're out here in the world living your life. Things happen. You meet people you come across. So it will really not depend on where you are with that person, how interactive you are with that person, and what your lifestyle is out here in the world while they're away. So, because anything can happen. You can bump into somebody who is the man of your dreams, and you got this person in jail, and they ain't coming out for the next 7 to 8 years. You're not going to pass up the opportunity to be happy if to take a chance on somebody who don't have their stuff together, or who did something that landed them in a position where they're out of your life for the next 7 or 8 years, or 10 years, or whatever.
I agree with that. But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question though. What if it's like, as Black people, we always have to struggle with being put in jail over some trumped up charges. So the man of my dreams is not even in my mind, in the forefront of my mind, while I'm trying to fight on the outside for my man who's in jail for some trumped up charges. So that's why the idea of him being in jail is that adds levels to it that we can't, synopsize in one little phone call. Too many levels to it.
But hold on, because y'all all getting off track. I don't give a shit what he did. The bottom line is, because what I said, because y'all getting too semantical. Don't nobody care about that shit. You know what I mean? I don't care if he had outstanding tickets. He had enough outstanding tickets for him to have to do a 7 to 10. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't saying that he knocked somebody off. First of all, if you talk about manslaughter, you talk about murder. Listen, if he kills somebody, he ain't come home no 5 and 10. I'm like, shit. If you ain't really kill them, they just kind of died. But anyway, so but what I'm saying is.
Oh no, that's why I said all bets is off.
My point is,
she can do whatever she wants, especially if I go to jail for something stupid.
Yeah, my point.
That should be the expectation of the man.
Hold on, but my point is, there's a double standard with that too, because many women are expected to quote unquote hold a man down while he's quote unquote down. You understand what I mean? So he may obligate her to do that, and other people that she know may or may not obligate her to do that. And there's also going to be pressure from men who want to be her suitor to be like, what you gonna wait for your man in jail for? By the way, what he don't know won't hurt him, and blah 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 blah. And
I never
hold on. I'm not done. I'm but I'm not done yet. I ain't done. Hold on. But if the roles were reversed, if the tables were turned, I don't think that a lot of men would be encouraged to stand by your woman while she doing doing 10 years. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be expected to live his life, to do what he has to do or what he wants to do or whatever.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked about that, because it's the double standard.
I don't ever hear. Yeah, I don't think so, because he's saying encourage. You don't hear other people, whether it's a man or a woman, encouraging a man to hold down his woman that's in jail. I just have never heard it.
And women be going to jail. Women be going to jail.
I think Remy Ma's husband is the only man in the history of Black men that ever waited for.
Yeah, but we don't know what. But we don't. Wait a minute. We don't know what Papoose was doing. Why his high profile relationship woman.
It ain't never came out.
I know for a fact. Papoose. I know for a fact Papoose he was well taken care of. You know what I mean? While she was down, I know that for a fact. But who cares? You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I would play faithful for money. And you tell me I'm gonna get how much for acting like I'm holding that shit? I'm gonna do it like Snoop Dogg never smoking weed on his reality show. Like, That's amazing. Snoop
That's a
Dogg
long
never
story,
smoking
yeah.
weed on his show, on his reality TV. That's exactly what I do it too. I'd be like, I'm faithful. I'd have a floating halo around my head if you pay me enough. I'll go back in my past. Look, I'll go back in my past relationships. Hold on. You put a few $1 million on the table. I'll go back in my past relationships and uncheat. You know what I'm saying? I could do it. I'd be like, shit. I ain't. So I'm talking about. I'd be like, shit.
When you figure out how to do that, let me know.
It'll be all kinds of space between my relationships. I'd be like, I was with her for 3 years, and then I was just in the wilderness for another 2 years, and then matter of fact, I was a Siberian monk for you know what I'm saying? But hold on, y'all.
But Omar, there is a movie where a guy, in order for him to get in heaven, he had to go back and he had to like undo all the hurt that he did to all the women he was involved with, right? And then, I don't know what the end of the movie. I didn't watch the movie, but I remember the premise was that he had to go back to every woman that he broke their heart, and he had to make amends with them, almost like a 12-step program. And it was like, it depends on the situation and the person, because if I'm a dog, well, I like calling men dogs. I call them in pigs, because a dog is loyal to his master. If he gets a good master, he ain't going nowhere, okay? But, for like a dude who's like, I'm about me, I'm going to get as much booty as I can get, right? That's just his personality. That's just who he is. But, when it comes to like, if my woman goes to jail, especially if she's going to jail to protect me, I'm definitely gonna like be loyal to her. I'm gonna be that dog. I'm gonna be that German Shepherd that's gonna be standing there. I'll be sitting there waiting for her to come out of that prison. Okay?
I mean, but, I know I would. I hold it down.
Yeah, because it's like the other caller said, it depends on what he does. If he goes to jail for protecting her, that's different. If he protects her and he goes to jail, then he comes out and she's with someone else. That's different too. But that's a whole nother talk show. I don't want to go in that direction, but and that's valid. I'm just looking for the examples of the double standard that we place on one gender versus another gender. Like it all I know is all I know is that it's a natural response to try to avoid pain. I know that it's a natural response of all living things to seek out situations that are more comfortable versus situations that are uncomfortable and hurtful and painful. So, the way that one person avoids pain is going to be different than the way another person avoids pain. But the ultimate goal between all people involved are going to be to try to find the most comfortable situation, to find the most pleasurable situation that has the least recoil, the least consequences of associated with the pleasure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying to seek out meaningless, dangerous, reckless sexual situations or drugs and alcohol or other things that you that people may use to try to dull the pain or ease the pain of daily living. But when people, human beings, we make life either really I hate to say this, but I think that we make life hard for each other without ever throwing a punch or pulling a trigger or things like that. But you talk about war and you talk about rumors of war, and rumors of war will fuck everything up. It really will. And that's speaking metaphorically for somebody on a personal level or somebody that you don't even really know. Things like placing unrealistic
expectations on people based on gender roles or masculinity expectations and things like that. It can really make things hard, you know, like telling men that they shouldn't. Okay. Telling men that they shouldn't express their emotions because they're going to sound like a little bitch, or because they're going to sound weak, or because life is going to get even harder for them when people when people know that their feelings can be hurt. So it's like it can almost make somebody be suicidal, because it's like, damn, I'm literally damned if I do and damned if I don't, and I'm just not damned. I'm not ready to be damned. So it's a little tough. What's the question that you had?
Do you think that people who normally cause a lot of pain live by those same standards of finding situations that have the least amount of pain?
Wait a minute, can you repeat that question, please?
Do you think, because you said people try to find situations with the least amount of pain, do you think people who cause pain a lot of the time have that same reality? Like,
I think all living. Yeah, I think that I think the question that you're asking is of a victimization nature. Even the person who is inflicting pain on the other person, if it's not a physical pain that they're trying to inflict, they may not even really realize that they are inflicting pain. You know, it's sort of like a coping mechanism for them that's not a good one. But even they are looking for a way to be able to get comfortable. They don't know healthy ways to get comfortable, so they use whatever ways that they know, which may be unhealthy ways, non-productive ways, destructive.
Yeah.
Hurt. You know what? I hate that fucking saying hurt people. And
I hate it too.
The reason why I hate it, though, the reason why I hate it is because it gives the predator an excuse, and I ain't trying to fucking hear that shit, because predators, unlike people who make mistakes, unlike people who fall victim, predators know that they are inflicting pain, regardless of the reason that they're doing it, based on their history and their and what has and the way that they have been treated. They know that they are not doing the right thing, but they choose time and time again not to do the right thing. So I don't give a fuck about people hurting people. You know what I mean? Now they have become the hurter. You know what I mean? As long as if they played their role and tried to ease their pain as the hurtee, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But now they have chosen their role as the predator, and I'm not trying to hear that. So this is not about hurt. You go ahead.
Sometimes it is done subconsciously, though. There's not necessarily an intention to hurt someone, rather than just hurting someone based off of treating them how they've been treated. Even though they may know it hurt them, they don't necessarily relate it to that if they do something that it's going to cause another person that same pain.
Yeah,
because it's subconscious.
Well, you know, I've said on this show plenty of times, a coincidence only happens once. Once you create a pattern of behavior, you know, that's going to determine whether somebody should have sympathy for you or not. You know what I mean? If you have chosen the path, like if you've learned the right way, but you have chosen to take your chances on the other way, I don't think that there's too much I can say for you. You've chosen that path, and it's not my obligation to make excuses for your behavior. And I'm definitely not going to make accommodations for your behavior. You know. So when the chips fall where they may, hey, we all got to deal with it.
But you also said that, when something works for you, you keep doing it that way. So if if a person has been doing something repetitively the same way over and over again, and it's been working for them, and they haven't necessarily received any negative consequences behind what they're doing, that they don't necessarily think of it as doing something wrong. Like let's say if you were abused as a child, right? And you grow up and you feel like, well, a lot of Black people were abused growing up, right? The beatings that we took growing up, it was abusive. However, we grew up and we're like, no, it's for the ride, you spoiled the child, and you got beat with extension cords, you knew not to do that again. However, then you turn around and you beat your children the same exact way. And you don't see any wrong in it. Because you got beat.
I call that the blueprint. That's a blueprint that you've been given from your parents. I call that the blueprint because we are what we learned from our parents.
Absolutely.
I honestly feel that. But when you have a person who chronically goes out to hurt other people, I agree with you more there. But when it comes to like what we were taught as children, how we were raised, we were given the blueprint on how to raise our children. So that's an entirely different thing right there. Because I know that the way I raised my children is not the way I was raised. Because I could, the way my mom, my father always said before he beat us, he said, life is easy. We make it hard with the decisions that we make.
Yeah.
We know right from wrong. And we know that if we didn't make a decision to do something wrong, hoping that we don't get caught, then we go out and do it. But if we get caught, there's a consequence to it. So when it comes to raising our kids and stuff like that, and the patterns in life, it's like my dad was a blues guitarist. I have like 26 brothers and sisters around the world, but I'm not my father. I did not follow the blueprint of impregnating every woman that wanted to be impregnated by me. I call that the blueprint. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
Well, at the end of the day, the question was asked. We were talking about when something works for somebody, they keep doing it. But we have to ask the question, well, how is it working? You know what I'm saying? How is it? Because our perspective on things that have been working or that are working it can be different from person to person. For some people, being abused is working. You know what I mean? People stay in abusive relationships for years because it's kind of working for them. Like I know that somebody beating on you could kill you, but I didn't die, did I? Did I? No. So, or they may say, well, it's not I'm not really in an abusive relationship. I'm just in a relationship that that's a little bit toxic, but everybody has their little problems with them or whatever. So they may rationalize or they may try to make excuses for what's happening to them. So when we say that something is working for them from the abuser side, maybe you feel like beating, hitting, yelling, screaming, insulting, demeaning, and all of that kind of stuff allows you to be able to get control. And maybe it is working, but how effectively is that really working? Have you've taken the most negative and unhealthy route to be able to gain control? Is that for your lack of ability to gain control otherwise? Is that your lack of mental ability or strength to be able to communicate with somebody and be able to influence them that way? Do you feel like it's really working for you to handle all of your handle your relationships, your personal relationships, through either physical violence or through emotional abuse? Because certainly that does not work in all situations that you are placed in. I bet you don't do that at work. I bet you don't do that to the man that's cutting checks for you. I'm sure that you do not get paid for abusing and using that as a form of control in other ways. So how do you figure that is working at home? Now, I mean, we can go back to the whole
thing is that most people who are doing that or exhibiting that behavior don't take the time to ask themselves those questions or those types of questions or rationalize it in that way. So it's working for them because no one has spoke out against it or no one has said anything, about it or told them not to do it or told them that it was wrong. So in their mind,
No, nobody told them that it was wrong, or they just didn't believe it or accept it. Listen, I know somebody said it was wrong. Like, yo,
That's what they say, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen plenty of situations where children have been abused, and people tend to like, I'm gonna mind my business because that's not my child, and you can't tell somebody how to raise their child.
Shit, listen. The white man tell
has been there for a long time.
The white man
has been there for a long time. You have so many black families who once upon a time looked out for each other. They used to look at once upon a time. They used to look at now that you can't say nothing to my child and blah 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 blah. But if your child is doing something, if they're doing something that can harm themselves, and you're trying to prevent that, and you got a parent who thinks you're trying to tell their kid what to do, the village is dead. The village has been dead for a long time. We don't look out for each other like we used to.
Yeah.
We just don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing for our community, because once upon a time, our community was strong. But now that some of us can get to taste a piece of the pie, as D'Angelo said in the song, the devil's pie, like, we forget about everyone else. But when it comes to like decisions that you make, like, you have to be conscious of the fact that decision is going to come with either a reward or a consequence.
Right.
And when I look at what we're talking about right now, there's many different variables that go to that. And each person has a different view on it or a different philosophy on it. But it still comes down to, knowing what's right and what's wrong and making the right decision accordingly. That's just me personally, and I stand corrected if you see there's another view, educate me, because I'm a student of life. I like learning because as long as I'm learning, I can do something to help motivate someone else to do what we would consider right, versus the wrong.
No, I don't even think that this is a right or wrong issue. It's more of an understanding issue and a perspective issue and an experience issue. All the opinions that I've heard have a certain amount of validity to it. There's a solution to all of this, but there's no one solution to all of this. It's not like this is not exact. Let me put it this way. And then we got to do these birthday shout outs. Tylenol works for some people and aspirin works for other people. You know what I mean? Some people can take antibiotics. Yeah. Some people can take antibiotics like penicillin, and some people can't take penicillin. They have to take like tetracycline,
90 seconds,
or Z-Pack or something like that. But the most important thing for us to acknowledge is that there is a cure out there. There is a way out there. So when we start talking about putting space between your relationships, we're really talking about a psychological issue where we're trying to talk about giving ourselves a chance to start all over again, a chance to be happy again, a chance to come together, a chance to unite. We talk all the time about how Black people don't unite, they don't stick together, which is not true. It's just that we often get together too often. We get together in order to separate. We get together for negative reasons, to separate ourselves from other people who may be positive or even more negative than we are. And our conditioning has relegated us to doing such things like that. And how we were talking about how we don't look out for each other anymore, or you can't tell anybody how to raise their children or whatever, or conduct themselves. Well, the white man steps in and tells us how to do whatever we don't want them to tell us how to do all the time. And we submit to that shit like it ain't no big thing. They will tell you how to raise your kid. They will tell you They will tell you how to they'll tell you what to feed your kids, where to send them to school, what they should be learning, what requirements they have in order to obtain a certificate to qualify to get this, that, and the third, and all of that kind of shit. So if we will submit by force from the government, then I think that we could probably learn to submit voluntarily with each other if we understood that we are all we have and that we can help each other out. Listen, I want to thank y'all for coming through. I really appreciate it. We are out of time and we really got to get on the body here. But listen, this has been a pleasure. I was really worried about whether this show was going to go over well for part 2 because it doesn't normally, but y'all came through and y'all definitely represented. So I want to extend my sincere gratitude once again.
Thank you. I want to thank you for this platform. I really do. I appreciate everything that you do, and keep up the good work, man, because it has volumes.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that exponentially. So and I'll be looking out for you and all of y'all. So thanks for coming through once again. Let me go into these birthday shout outs. So I gotta mute all of y'all. So but thanks once again. I'll holler back at y'all. All right.
Thank you, son.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you mucho. All right, y'all. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious February 19th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They get the R-E-S-P-E-C-T. They get first one out the box on this first day of Pisces. You know what I'm saying? The Pisces are in the house. You know, the fish are swimming. It's going to be a good time. Good time. Yeah. Number one out the box, Brittany Alexander, turning 33 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Brittany. And also S. Love Harris, turning 48 years old today. Happy birthday to you. And Jerry McLean, turning 55 years old today. Deuce Nichols. And also Diane Robinson, turning 69 years old today. Word up. And Pamela McKeever, turning 63 years old today. And my man, my mechanic, Pop G's. Happy birthday to you, my brother. And Nicole Taliba Muhammad, turning 49 years old today. Hey, and my girl from down there in Tennessee, Noreen Beecham, turning 52 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Reen. And also, last but not least, my girl Tiffany Blair Galati. Happy birthday to you. I want to say happy birthday to all of you and anyone else out there who shares this birthday on this glorious February 19th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on it, do the damn, the rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on it, do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And remember, man, listen, we talking about putting space between relationships. It's a personal decision. Nobody can tell you exactly how long you should wait to get from one relationship into another relationship. You're going to follow your head. You're going to follow your heart. You're going to try to make the best decisions that will put you in a comfortable place, a safe place. You can't be safe if you're not comfortable, and you cannot be comfortable if you're not safe. When we are looking for someone to love, when we're looking for someone to adore, when we're looking for someone to love us, when we're looking for someone to be with, someone to have companionship with, we are looking for safety, comfortability, and security. That's all we're looking for. And that should be something that each and every one of us should be afforded. We should be granted that. We should be given that. It should be no issue, but it is an issue. Now, the question that we have to try to find the answer to is, Are we making it harder for each other, or are we making it harder for ourselves? There's a solution out there. It's probably not a one-word answer. It's probably spelled differently than it's actually spelled, and it may not be available in every store or region of the world that you live in, but it's out there. And hopefully through your study, through your tenacity, through your exploration, you will find it one day. But whatever space that you need between, or whatever space that you give yourself between relationships, just understand that you're just looking to be safe and comfortable. Safe and comfortable. I mean, how you gonna bust a nut if you ain't safe and comfortable? That ain't cool. So anyway, I want to thank y'all for coming through. We will be back tomorrow. And tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock for the Daily Go Get Emism show. And it's only a little bit longer, it's about 15 hours away. Tomorrow on the Daily Go Get Emism show, we will be talking about living rent-free, taking up space rent-free in your mind. So we're going to talk about when whether you are in a relationship or not with somebody has you on their mind, or you have somebody on your mind all the time, like an obsession, and you can't shake it, and it comes out. You trying not to let it show, but you just can't help putting yourself out there. It's sort of like how former President Obama was living rent-free in Donald Trump's head. Living rent-free. He couldn't help mentioning him at every turn. Every time he got a chance to talk about him negatively, he did it. Every chance that he had to try to destroy one of his former policies, he did it and announced it. He was living rent-free up in his head. Well, somebody may be living rent-free all up in your dome. Well, who is it? And why is it? Well, we're going to take a look at it tomorrow. Living rent-free space, taking up space rent-free in your head, baby. So make sure y'all come through tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock a.m. I said 11 o'clock a.m. Yes, you do. So let's get it pop. Hey, yo, peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. I love y'all right back to life. You think I don't when I do? You think I don't appreciate you coming through? And I'm going to holler back at y'all. So on the Blog Talk side, I'm going to get back. Thanks for coming through on the Blog Talk. See, we need more callers. Callers are fun. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't got to listen to me flap my gums the whole time. We have other ideas and perspectives and just things to say. It's pretty cool. Please call in more. Y'all beg you. All right. So thanks for my callers calling in. Love is love on that side. All righty. And for my Instagrammers, thanks for coming through. Will Horn, the Sucre, J. Twa, Clint C. Bradley was all up in there, and Takizori Word. Thanks for coming through here. Get with y'all later. 11 o'clock tomorrow. You know what it is. Peace. And for my YouTubers, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to share the show. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. If you're going out on this Friday night or any of these nights out here during this pandemic, please be careful. Please be careful. Please be careful. I don't care if you got the vaccine. I need you to be careful and really clean, and make sure that if you're out on the scene, be careful. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah. Yeah, I said, peace.